The forest dripped with shadows. Twisted branches like skeletal fingers clawed at the blood-red moon. A chanting echoed between the trees, harsh whispers that sent shivers down your spine. 13 figures stood in a circle, cloaked in black. Their faces were hidden in the darkness, but their eyes glowed with an eerie light. They were witches, their voices rising in unison as they summoned a power as old as time. In the center of the circle, a young girl knelt. Her name was Ilara, and her eyes were wide with terror. She was the offering chosen for her innocence and the power it held. Ilara felt the heat of their combined gaze, the intensity of their chanting. They were weaving a spell, binding her fate to their will. She struggled against the ropes that held her, but it was no use. The chanting reached a fever pitch and the air crackled with energy. Ilara closed her eyes, bracing herself for the unknown. A searing pain shot through her and she screamed, but then something unexpected happened. The pain began to fade, replaced by a tingling warmth that spread through her veins. Ilara opened her eyes and gasped. The pool of water in the stone basin before her shimmered. It was part of the ritual, used to reflect the transfer of power. But the reflection staring back at her wasn't her own. Gone was the terrified girl. In her place was a vision of power, eyes blazing with emerald fire, hair as black as night, and a crown of twisted thorns upon her head. The witches gasped, their chanting faltering. The warmth inside Ilara grew stronger, consuming her fear and replacing it with something else. Something ancient and powerful. She smiled, a slow, predatory grin spreading across her face. The witches backed away, their eyes wide with fear. They had intended to use her power, but they had unleashed something far greater. Ilara rose to her feet, the ropes falling away like dust. "You sought to control me," she said, her voice resonating with newfound power. "Now you will kneel." The forest itself seemed to bend to her will, the trees twisting and groaning. The blood-red moon bathed the forest in its eerie light. But it was Ilara who commanded the night. The Witch of Whispering Pines, they would call her, and her reign had just begun.